Middle call. Hey, hey.
Some people like the echo, John.
Middle call. Hey,
I don't mind it.
Oh, wrong
Middle
one.
call.
Oh.
Hey, hey.
I like the Echo-less one. I like the tune back, though. You know what just crossed my mind? Because you and I were bullshitting about John Gruden, actually. We're just kind of wondering what he was doing. Is that, do you think, like, obviously the offseason, it's just a nice, smooth, if you're a new coach, you just, you know, it's probably a little intense given that if you weren't a coach before, but it's nothing like the season. Do you think there's some, like, cold sweats from Brian Greasy to, like, am I really going to do this? Like, 90-hour work weeks? 90-hour work weeks. Like, I can't just, you know, I'm not really feeling it on Wednesday. I'll show up to the office at 9:30.
You think like Brian Greasy during OTAs was like, all right, boys, back to the grind. And they were like, yeah, Brian, this is not the grind. You haven't seen the grind yet.
I just wonder if, like, you know, you check that Wells Fargo, you're like, you know, I made some good money. I'm rich. Am I doing this to, why am I doing this? And John Lynch looks at you, for the love. You turned down Bezos $15 million. I did. Like, John, I would have gone.
You know, I came back for the scheming, not so much the running the QB drills for Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. I didn't realize I was going to be the ex-receiver in all these drills, too.
Yeah, some guy, like Tiger said today, they asked him about Liv. He's like, you know, when you get paid all that money, what's the incentive of just grinding in the dirt? Like, Tiger, you're not like playing for Bear Bryant. I mean, you live in Jupiter for the last 25, like, but in his mind, and this is how crazy he is, like, he believes just like pounding balls in the sweetest club where he practices like the dirt, you know? And he's dead serious. He was serious, right?
Dead serious.
He said the dirt. Like he's like in prison, you know, lifting in the yard.
Yeah, or let alone playing local munis.
Yeah. The dirt. Tiger, don't you go to like the Bears Club or what? All those clubs that I hear about that sound really cool.
Yeah, you're richer than all these guys.
Yeah, so the dirt. I'm gonna start
live plane. Like Tiger could just fly the live plane if he wanted to. You know, it's a different. It's hard because even if you agree with some of what he said, it's tough coming from him because he's so rich, right?
Yeah. I think his main point is just like you're playing for nothing.
Yeah, which I watched a lot of Open coverage on Monday night. I watched a ton of it Monday night, like live from the Open, and they'd keep going over to Sandsy, and then they'd go to some golfer clips, and then they'd cut over to Brandel Chambly, who I know
they fire over to Rex Hoggard. I was watching. He was there with Todd Lewis is like peppering him about the DOJ.
The guy with like the reporter, the skinnier guy with like the Spanish name. He's fantastic.
I was going to say Omar Sands, but it's I know who you're talking about.
But anyway, and then they go to Brandel, who, like I told you before, I think if you watch like NBA TV, MLB Network, NFL Live, and then you watch Brandel Chambly, Brandel Chambly is more prepared than 99% of analysts on television for all sports combined. Now, turns out maybe the players don't love him, but he is so prepared. Whereas most guys can barely get they don't have enough takes to get through a show. Chambly's got research, historical data relative to like Olympic sprinters. He's doing total. Bobby Jones came here in 1919 and 274, which broke the record by 16 strokes. And then in 1979, and then when Tiger came here by 15 strokes, and on and on and on and on and on. And it was just incredible. It was incredible content.
Yeah, let's go to John Kruk in the MLB studio. You just got to take the pitch. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go to Ike Hilliard. What'd you think of that? It's like, yeah, this guy sucks. I don't know. Just not good enough.
Did you see the video of the NBA G League broadcast with Brendan Hayward where the guy comes by and does like middle finger in the camera while they're on camera?
The player?
No. So it looked like a former, I don't know who it was. It was a guy wearing a badge. I saw somebody was like, was that Kevin O'Neal? But it's like the play-by-play guy and Brendan Haywood are on camera. The camera's on them. They're breaking it down. Dude walks behind them, their broadcast position, just goes like middle finger face scratch like that. Brendan Haywood's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Thought he was just trying to say hi and then like gets back to the whatever the point he was making.
Summer League or G League?
Summer League. Did I say G League? It was just like yesterday. It was Monday.
Gotcha. Just a fan fucking with him.
Just a guy fucking with him. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like, and then you cut to it's not not Royal Carnoustie. That's my favorite name, but it's not Royal Carnoustie. What's St. George? What is this one?
I think it's just the old course.
The old course.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Any hole where you aim at the hotel and play a cut off the hotel or whatever the play is, that's just incredible.
Yeah, it's I guess it's closed on Sundays. You just bring your dogs. It's a park.
Is that right?
Yeah, it isn't the Presidio kind of like that? Or people wanted the Presidio to become a park?
There are parts of it that are a park. When the pandemic hit, you could walk it. I played Lincoln Park the other day. That's a park. Like people just walk around, not on the. Well, I mean, yeah, I was
Harding Park. People walk around.
Yeah, I think that one you're not allowed to like cruise through the course. I remember seeing a guy get kicked off.
Remember we were playing and they were running the guy off, or was that with Kawakami?
No, that was us. Yeah.
It kind of looked like the guy was on some drugs or something.
It was questionable. Like he was looking for us. That was when we played a month before the PGA Championship, and that guy had like a backpack. It looked like he was plotting. Like it was weird. Like he was up to something.
Yeah, they were all over his ass.
John, this show is brought to you in part by the wonderful, wonderful people at buckmason.com/ham and the number one, buckmason.com, ham and the number one. Go-to t-shirts, go-to jeans, sweaters, sweatshirts. I'm a huge fan. You get 15% off when you spend at least $100 right now when you go to the landing page, buckmason.com/ham and the number one.
Yeah, t-shirts, V-necks, shorts. I own multiple pair of shorts that I wear basically on a rotation to bed every night. They're my at-night lounge, relax, sleep-in shorts. Love them to death. Love the V-necks. Love just the regular t-shirts. Can't recommend them enough. Get them. I mean, if you don't have some, go to right now to Buck Mason. Once you try Buck Mason, they'll become your go-to. I know they've become our go-tos. Haberman owned some before, and then we've quadrupled down since. So go to buckmason.com/ham1. That's ham1. There's a data breach. So you get 15% off when you spend at least $100. It's pretty easy to do. buckmason.com/ham1. Get 15% off. Spend at least 100 bones.
The Pima cotton I love. I'm big crew neck, Pima, straight bottom. Maybe you love the curved hem. The slub is also great. But my recommendation, I think the reviews are in. Just size up. If you wear a medium, wear a large. It won't be too baggy. Unless you like if you like the snug kind of fit, you got good pecs. Go with that. If you like a little more relaxed, but it's not going to be sloppy, just size up. You'll love it. Big fan of the Pima. Big fan of the slub. buckmason.com/ham1.
Speaking of $100.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep for whatever reason. I woke up at like 4:15 and I was like, it was weird. I was wide awake. Sometimes I do, and it's like I can contemplate, but I can go back to bed. This time I couldn't. So I turned on television, and actually Tiger was talking, so I just left the TV on. I kind of just ended up getting some coffee at like 5:15. I did a couple things, and by like 6:45, I'm like, I'll just fire to the grocery store. I just needed, I needed a couple things, some water, some Gatorade. I was going to get a little meat and grab like paper towels. What in my mind, it was like $50 type, couple things. You didn't need a big cart, in out in less than 5 minutes. I look up, it's $120. And you're a Safeway. You just pay. I started questioning it. No, she's like, no, everything's here. I got to the car. I added it up on the receipt. It's crazy. I mean, it was nuts. Just how I swear to God, what I ordered historically feels like a $60 order. It was $115.
Well, I will say, I think Safeway's always been expensive. I get most of my stuff at Trader Joe's. I got a bottle of water at Trader Joe's the other day for 17 cents. That's what their bottles of water cost. 17 cents. Now you can't get Gatorade. But
do you get paper towels and stuff like that?
I wouldn't get your paper towels there because I think they're like, organic.
See, to me, Safeways just gives me so many options of everything I kind of need.
I
need a little olive oil.
I would just do Target orders for all your sundries. I don't know if it's sundries, but I love that word.
But my point is, that would still be. But the price is the price on those, right? The water at Safeway is cheap.
I think your paper towels are more expensive at Safeway than they would be with like just a big TargetOrder.com.
Yeah, to me, it was like the meat was up, the eggs.
Yeah, meat is up. Meat's up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just inflation. Hashtag.
Meat's up. Austin on the stream says, Ballsack Sports tricking Sports Center is so funny. What's great about Ballsack Sports is it's not, you made this point. Sorry, I don't mean, but like the name, like, let's not lie about the first part that makes this hilarious is the name.
Yeah.
You have to say that name in order to say the name.
Yeah, to me, if it was just like Sportsline News, or, at Sportsline, I'm just making up something that just tweets out fake shit. It'd be like, understandable. They needed some content. It's middle of July. There ain't shit going on. You're grasping for straws. All of a sudden, you get a star NBA player taking shots at Michael Jordan. It's a BP fastball. Frontline, news, whatever. It wouldn't even be that funny. It's Ballsack Sports. This is, guy, do you remember Ballsack Sports? They do a lot of NBA stuff because they got a James Harden, I think, with Skip and Shannon, and they got him bad. Ballsack Sports just makes up stuff. But like, you text me last night, why Ballsack Sports works, because the NBA shit, it's believable.
They hit the timing so perfect, right? Because I'd seen a photo. There's a clip of Ja. There's a clip of Ja. I'm not clicking it. I don't care. There's a clip. I see the thing. I go, yeah, that sounds like something that somebody would say, So what's funny about this one is like the standard of proof is higher at ESPN. In theory, like your producers should be vetting it. You should have the clip. You should watch the clip. Like, oh, let me see him say it.
Those days are long gone, guy.
Those days are gone. We're just doing, we got 30 minutes to prepare for 30 minutes. We're not going deep on anything, right? Like, that's kind of the mindset. But yeah, it was a believable quote, but it wasn't a real quote. That's the hook, John. It wasn't a real quote.
To me, to have to apologize that we need to be better because of Ballsack Sports is kind of symbolizes the network's shows going right now. That's hilarious. That made my day. Ballsack Sports.
Can you imagine the feeling of being fooled after finding out after you do a whole thing on SportsCenter about it, or whatever show? And I think if you're like if you're the guys that did it, like who this is Jacoby, and I think Kendrick Perkins, they were involved in the debating.
See, I don't blame Kendrick Perkins, right? It's not, he just reacts. Even Jacoby, like it starts with a producer.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, if you were that guy, you would love to say, hey, not my job. I didn't come up with the topic, the producer, it's theirs. But you still did the debate, right?
Yeah.
You still, I would still feel shitty.
I think it was a long debate, I would imagine too.
I would think it was. I would think it was. So shout out to Ballsack Sports.
Yeah, keep on rocking.
It's incredible. It's good, it's just kind of keeping everybody on their toes, making sure everybody understands. I don't know. Did you
shouldn't be this easy, guy? It's not this easy just to like
sometimes,
some quote about Ja taking a shit on Michael Jordan, how him and Steph Curry would have dominated the 80s and 90s, right?
Well, sometimes you need somebody to, remind everybody they got to lock back in, be a little more focused. Did you follow the swim story last week?
No.
So this guy who writes for swimswam.com, which is a swimming publication.
Yeah.
Tweeted, I don't remember the exact tweet, but it was basically, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina are on the verge of head of the SEC. It was something like that. It wasn't exactly.
I didn't see it was SwimSwam, but I did see the fake tweet about that.
Okay.
I think Virginia might have been involved.
Yeah, Virginia. That tweet was real. It wasn't some guy pretending. It was just SwimSwam. That guy tweeted it. And I was talking to our buddy Greg Mraz the other day on the golf course, researcher for the Pac-12, who took us out to Olympic not too long ago. And great guy. And he's like, he said to me, do you like this? Is that fucked up? Like by that person? And
SwimSwam?
It's SwimSwam. And I said, no, it's not fucked up by SwimSwam. The internet has been around for a long time. We've all been on the internet now for a long time. It's on you. Like, there was some personal responsibility here to filter the internet. Not in the immediate, 7 seconds, send it to your buddy. Oh, never mind, it's fake. But I am not getting mad at anybody. In an ideal world, everybody would just kind of, it's not true. I'm not going to spread bad information. But people are out here just fucking around. And you have to understand that people are out here just screwing around. And you have to have a little bit of, it's a little bit on you to filter through the information.
How many followers did SwimSwam? Was it a big account?
5,000. No.
Oh, gotcha.
No.
So if I tweeted out right now, we were actually talking about this. I went viral on TikTok. I'm really proud. trying to transition more to TikTok than Twitter. But because I don't think I can go viral on Twitter without doing something that pisses off Twitter, which I could do pretty easily. I could put up a tweet that would have would blow your mind. We all could. But if I wanted to do a sports one to blow up, I don't have anything good. But if I lie, what if I just tweeted right now while we were on breaking? Jimmy Garoppolo has been traded to the Seattle Seahawks. The Niners, it would go so big that within 10 minutes they would say something. Within 10 minutes, though, wouldn't I get a lot of retweets?
So, yeah, you
was that on me, Middlekoff?
That one's on you because you're established John Middlekoff. John Middlekoff doesn't, that's not his thing. Yeah. But if it was like somebody named John Middlekoff with 5,000 followers and I click in his website, swimswam.com, I'd go, maybe I should take a beat here.
Yeah.
Just maybe I should take a moment. The other tough part,
we're trying to get, I think we'll get him here come the fall here, John Lynch. I think I wonder how many retweets you think I get before they shot that down? 500? Or would they shoot it down? Would it go pretty quick and they'd shoot it down?
It depends. Is Mayoko on the road or can he pull over and tweet?
Yeah, they get mad at me.
Like the Niners aren't putting out a Niner statement, right? So
You don't think so?
Not in the first 5 minutes. No, I think it'd be Mayoko or Barrows, Biederman. One of those guys would tweet, contrary to reports. They wouldn't
would have been
name
a trolling. I'm like, I thought we were friends at you guys. We all follow each other.
It's just business. It's just business, man. Maybe they'd retweet you and be like, according to sources, this is not what I'm hearing. In one defense of the SportsCenter producer or whoever would be like everybody aggregates, right? Ballsack Sports wasn't pretending. SwimSwam was breaking news. Ballsack Sports was not pretending to break news. They were just aggregating. And aggregation, like I've got a picture here, right? Here's this thing. We were gonna talk about this. Trey Lance. I've got stats. Okay, here's stats. Rob Guerrera. He tweeted. Here's what Mayoko said on KNBR with some text. Like, well, if he's lying, then I'm fooled by what he's saying in this quote, right?
Well, if I was,
unless I go check where's the audio? Let me check the audio. Matt, did you say this?
Yeah, if I was JDM Sports and no one had ever heard of me and I had 700 followers, I could easily tweet out, and would be way easier to not and could fool a bunch of people. Mayoko said on KNBR, the 49ers are really down on Jimmy. Him and Kyle had a big blow up at the end of the season. You can do that because you'd be like, well, Mayoko goes on the radio. It's easier to do that and fool a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right. And the difference is when you do a media member, they fucking live on social media. They would shoot it down. John Morant might not have been Taylor Rooks. Hell, she might have been paying attention, but I don't know. That's a little weird that someone didn't quote that and be like, I didn't say that, or he didn't say that. Because the quote, the Ballsack Sports quote was actually like basically how Michael, it wasn't even that he could beat Michael one-on-one, because I did watch some of the interview. He said that in jest a little bit. He was laughing. He also said he could beat Messi at soccer. The quote was more that like Michael would have no shot in this league, just one superstar with no help. He's like, all the players now would whoop his ass. And he listed like 10 players, like Steph, Giannis, LeBron, Embiid. He's like, we'd work all those old folks type. I mean, it was a good, like, if he had said it, it's a go-to, like the producer's like, yeah, let's go in on this one. Because the Michael one, you can't play the audio. You can't play it and do a serious segment. Now you can use the quote. And this is why, as you and I have said, why would any human being, especially an athlete, public CEO, whatever you're in business, ever do a print deal? Be like video only.
Yeah.
The problem is then
no
people
edits.
take and you're not allowed to transcript anything. Transcribe.
Yeah. Which I did too. We have a transcription here from something that was said. But John, we have breaking news. N'Keal Harry just got traded to the Chicago Bears. N'Keal Harry just got traded to the Chicago Bears.
For a quick second, I'm like, the Niners really just traded for him? Okay.
According to Mike Garafolo and Rap Sheet.
You know what that
Former
is?
first-round pick gets a shot at a fresh start.
Do you know what that is written all over it? And I don't blame him. I would do the same thing. If you finally become a GM and you had all these players over the years that you liked, and now you have like, this team hates them and I can get a guy that I liked, you do it. That'd be one of the more fun parts about being the GM, because if then it does work, see, I always liked this guy, right? That to me is the go-to move for every new GM is like move here, move there. But that's not just a random trade. And it's not just because the Bears receivers suck. It's because Ryan Poles once had a really good grade on N'Keal Harry, right?
You know what I wonder too is
The Chiefs liked him, I remember.
that's what I was going to say. Did Andy Reid, did Brett Veach, did these guys who have a good track record of identifying offensive talent, did they like him? It might have been that Ryan Poles was okay on him, but Andy Reid loved him. He's like, I'm going to get this guy Andy Reid loved and see if it can work.
But here's the thing with N'Keal Harry,
and
I don't think the Chiefs would have been alone. I think he was well respected coming out. Maybe not pick 25 or where. I mean, he went, I guess, last pick of the first round, 29 or something.
He went 32.
So I think a lot of people had him as a top 50 player.
They did.
Right?
They did.
He was really bad in New England.
I talked to one Arizona State coach last year about it because I was talking to him about Brandon Ayuk, and I said, what did you think when N'Keal Harry got drafted? And that coach's response was, I knew it was a bad match, him in New England. That was not going to be a good fit.
Was a Florida State head coach their OC ever? Was he gone?
Florida State head coach was on their staff, yeah.
Norvell?
Mike Norvell.
Herm inherited him?
I don't know if he ever made it to Herm. Did he get 1 year Herm? I can't quite remember the timeline.
He was, I almost said Todd Lewis, but
he ended up in Memphis too.
Todd Graham, was that it?
Yeah, he was gone by 15, so he was a Todd Graham guy.
I met Norvell when I was scouting. Was he there? Do you have his wiki up? Was he there in 12?
12 was his first year there.
Yeah, seemed like an impressive guy.
Yeah.
You ever meet him?
I've never met him, but I've heard good things. People liked him. Did Harry and Ayuk? Yes, Harry and Ayuk had an overlap. N'Keal Harry overshadowed Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's first year there when he came in from junior college. And he had a really good career, but
I would say one problem for both of them. I mean, that the quarterbacks they play. I guess Brandon Ayuk got the 1 year with the LSU's guy, right? N'Keal played with Manny Diaz, not Manny Lawson. Manny Ramirez,
number 11. Manny,
good kid, bad player.
Manny.
Diaz, Ramirez.
No, keep going.
That's the only Manny's I know. He just
Wilkins. He ended up on the Packers for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, you need some. Rodgers not showing up. You need some.
Yeah. Understood. So, Wilkins. I knew we had a Sun Devil on the. There you go, Nick. Thank you on the stream. Do you gentlemen? That guy 337 asked, do you gentlemen have a consensus lock for best rookie wide receiver?
So we got Garrett Wilson, you got Olave, you got the dude with asthma for the Titans. You see that? He got asthma.
Yeah, the guy we wanted the
yes,
the Niners to draft.
Not ideal. He was getting heat stroke, couldn't make it to practice. It's like, well, he comes from the north. No, actually he's from the south. Who else? The Ravens, they take a guy.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson from Penn State.
Chiefs got Sky Moore.
Oh, Drake London.
Drake London was the first guy taken.
NFL draft prep.
I'd probably go with the throwing bombs, taking down moms. Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson.
Traylon Burks is your asthma guy. I feel like it's about to take a turn for the worse in New York, but
Olave, Jameis, that could not go well.
No, there's a lot of guys in bad spots. God, there's a lot of guys and receivers in bad spots. I feel like in years past, there've been a lot of receivers that were obviously in good spots. I mean, is when the dust settles, does Sky Moore get 68 catches and 6 touchdowns? Maybe. I mean, we've thought in years past that some of these second-round guys that ended up on better teams, like the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Seahawks, I guess one of those guys is good.
I would say the difference, though, is like the Chiefs have an opening. Right? I mean, some of the second-round guys, DK hit the ground running. A.J. Brown toward the end hit the ground running. Even Debo, the end of the season. Like, the Chiefs need – I read a headline the other day that was like, now they battled some injuries because I think Sky Moore pulled a hammy and didn't practice that much. They're like, MVS, Valdez Scanning. by far the Chiefs' best wide receiver at OTAs. So it's just, he's going to have his moments.
Well, it's a good bet because really when you think about it, I'm just looking. Okay, Christian Watkins went to the Packers. A lot of these guys went to bad spots. Giants took a receiver at 43. Texans took John Mechie at 44.
He's got a torn
Patriots
ACL.
took a receiver at 50. Good luck to Tyquan Thornton from
What
Baylor.
schools was okay. Well, not a terrible, their receivers. Mac, McCorkle, no ice cream.
Drake London will get 1 million targets. Well, no, he's got one of the best tight ends in the league on his team.
I think Kyle
Who's
Pitts
his quarterback? Matt Ryan's gone.
Marcus.
Well, I know, I'm just saying, like Matt Ryan, it's over.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder. I think the Falcons are going to stink.
John, Trey Lance, Armgate, the latest, as transcribed, I mentioned it by Rob Stats Guerrera here. Matt Mayoko on KNBR.
Ballsack Sports.
Allegedly saying, is it a thing? It's a thing, but I don't see it being anything that we'll ever talk about after the first couple of days of camp. To my knowledge, he's never missed time because of the arm, but I do know that it's something. I guess when you have a guy that you invested so much in, you're going to monitor that stuff anyway. But I do know they're going to keep a very close eye on his arm, how it feels, the pitch count, how many throws a day is okay. But they do that with every quarterback. Okay.
Well, you were right yesterday, and again, it's hard to keep up with every little minutia in pro sports now, just because so much happened between when it did come up last year in camp to where we're at now. But it wasn't something out of nowhere, given that it was a topic, whatever, year ago, right? But didn't he hurt his finger in training?
No, he hurt his finger during the season.
I can't even keep track. Last year,
right, this is why you want to keep Garoppolo around, John.
Last year's season felt like multiple seasons in one, didn't it? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Part of it, that multiple quarterbacks, the ups, the downs, they were 3 and 5. Yeah,
draft stuff.
I would say from April to week 18, even before the playoffs started, was a crazy Niner stretch. The ups, the downs, holding on for dear life, having to win, getting rolled, and then just getting to the playoffs, everyone's just happy. And you start looking, you're like, can they kind of beat the Cowboys? And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they're in the NFC Championship game. I'd say there was a lot going on against the Raiders in the preseason.
Yeah.
So the finger thing, like he's got, I think everyone is so quick to freak out when someone says, Silver didn't say he sucked. Silver didn't say he couldn't play. He just said the arm was something to keep an eye on. And that was clearly something that happened last year. Because remember, in OTAs, he shot out like a rocket. And then in training camp, it kind of got put on the brakes relatively quickly. And it was clear like, he's in trouble. Right? In terms of like, Jimmy's going to be the starter.
Oh, challenging for the job. Yeah.
Because it was, whether it was rigged or whether it was just Jimmy was going to have to go down. But it's a real story. And it's just something like we said yesterday, recording this on Tuesday. Like I don't care about I'm just going to judge him. Like, to me, it is a story of like, he's missing days in camp.
They can't throw the ball downfield.
Yeah. Or it's like he says, like, I had to take the day off because my arm is sore. But if nothing happens, then you just young player learning to battle through it.
Mechanics can be a part of that too, right?
Was that a big thing in baseball?
Yeah.
Arm slot and stuff for like tearing arms and fatigue.
Stress on your elbow, stress on your shoulder. That's why your lower half, that's why your legs matter a lot in any sport, right? Your legs matter.
Has Bumgarner he's never had arm issues?
No, I don't think that he has. Now he pushes all. I mean, it's when you move, you lift with your legs, right? That whole thing. You lift weights with your legs.
He's a big motherfucker, I'll tell you that much.
So, I mean, maybe that's part of where I would think sidearm, also does tax your arm. But that's why you got to go underarm. Softball. They don't get Tommy John. They have forearm pain. They have forearm.
You see that video that went viral of Cam throwing it underarm 50 yards?
Oh, like a couple months ago? Like
the
that
softball thing where he does the little throw it up and whoo. Can he throw it farther underarm now?
Maybe.
Yeah. I do think, though, it's fair Like, I'm not thinking about it, but if it comes up, it's a real thing. Like, it's not nothing.
Well, I think that's the exact right spot to be. It's a real thing that happened. It's not made up, but it's also should not derail anything. But it's something to, like, I think Mayoko, it's something to keep an eye on. What if Trey Lance gets Jay, we're just giving him a day, or he's getting less reps today. Is it really that, or is there a problem with his arm? But you cross that bridge when you get there.
Yeah, and to me, as we sit here on July 12th, when we're talking about injuries or things like that, or just quote-unquote storylines, non-Jimmy, because as long as he's still around, like the trade, like that's a pretty big deal. I would say Trey Lance's arm fatigue is not anything until it's something. Like, when are they going to sign Deebo Samuel? Like, is he showing up to training camp? Is Javon Kinlaw going to be able to practice day one? McGlinchey back? Yeah, you got to be careful. Javon, you're good, man. I believe
that wasn't a Grant Cohn comment. You saw the video of him the other day?
Kinlaw or Grant?
Kinlaw, like in the ring, just going at it with a trainer.
Yeah, so I mean, he's either going to sack the quarterback or sack Grant. Like, one of them's going down. So, like, there are other question marks on the squad. I think first and foremost, like, we are coming down the home stretch here. Whenever they report the 26th, if Deebo doesn't have a contract, like, what's going on here? Because all of a sudden, once they report, we're a couple days away from being like, well, is he on the field? I mean,
to me, it's like if he's on the field, then the next week it's like, okay, he's doing what they've asked. Now, part of it,
because McLaurin got paid since
part
Deebo
of this might be any of this Jimmy related. Wait, are they telling him once Jimmy gets traded, then we can pay you? Because if that's part of the timeline, then that could slow it down for him. Because Jimmy's not. Who knows, depending on where Garoppolo is.
But my argument would be, if they said that, like, how does this have any impact?
I understand. No, I know. But I wonder.
It does change our salary cap once we know exactly where Jimmy is, I guess. How to, like, we could front load you a little more money or, whatever.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
Right. And they're like, well, actually, it's your problem. Because actually, I'm leaving in a Range Rover one way or another today.
Deebo, you've been better off being a shooting guard for the Wizards and get $50 million and no trade clauses, and your team sucks. I saw Deebo actually Instagram, like, he's got a kids camp to July 22nd. I started doing the math. I'm like, I don't know how long kids camp is, but
usually no more than 2 days, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, what are you really going to do? Run a couple circles around some cones? Because you're not doing tackling drills like 12-year-olds, right?
No, I don't think so. You just do the thing where, like, kid runs, someone throws them the ball, they catch it, run to the end zone, then run to the end zone.
Yeah, lunchtime.
I don't think you're going through the drill going like, nope, outside foot in, switch your feet.
Yeah. Water break, guys. Hydrate.
That's a wasted step. No false steps here. We got to get off the line quick, create a little separation.
Off to the pool. South Carolina gave us their swimming pool for the rest of the day.
All right, kids, yak drill now. It's 1 on 15. How many yards can you pick up?
There's always one kid, like the next Deebo, that, like, makes them all miss.
Did you see the video the other day of
the 14-year-old D tackle?
No. Oh, well, there was the photo of that guy. I'm talking about the, like, Pee Wee football Darren Sproles tape.
No. Of actual Darren Sproles?
Yep, it starts with, like, hi, I'm Darren Sproles, number 42. And then it's just like, boom. And the guy holding the camera is like, well, there goes Darren again. It's like,
did anyone ever touch him?
Yeah. And he just breaks tackles, spins guys off. It's just.
Oh, they were padded up and, like,
Pee-wees. Yeah. When you think he's going down, he's not. It's just incredible.
Just a dominant Hall of Fame level Pee-wee player.
It's like, all right. The guy's like, all right, there he goes. Number 42, Darren Sproles. Just that guy multiple times in the video made the video.
Well, the video that kind of went viral of the D tackle that's 14, that looks like, he looks like Aaron Donald right now. I saw the clips of him at camp.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, just offensive lineman barreling over, throwing guys around. Just an unstoppable force. Does look. Be semi-shocked if he doesn't already have the Georgia-Alabama offers. You could argue peaked a little early, 14, Can he stop the run? I mean, can we only pass rush? That'd be my question. We stout. We just trying to sacks get us paid, but we got to be a two-way player. There's nothing like the camps where it's like 2 15-year-olds and it's just one guy's a little outmatched and he just gets run over and everyone's high-fiving. It honestly feels a little uncomfortable. NFL, even college football. These are D1 athletes. These are all NFL players. Are we sure this kid is not even, is he starting on his high school team? Are we sure? Like, is this fair to this left guard who just might be a bigger kid?
Would he make it into
Yeah, like
the crowd?
could he
What was the
start in junior
Sports
college
Illustrated
ball?
page? Was it in the crowd? What was it called?
The D tackle would for sure.
Is that what it was called? In the crowd?
Faces in the crowd, I think.
Yeah, faces in the crowd. Yeah. Oh, so I was listening. I know it turned out you listened too. We both listened today to Ryan Russillo's podcast, and available where you get your podcasts. And he had Albert Breer on, and Albert Breer said this to him about the 49ers. I think it's gone a little underreported that the Niners have been 100% willing to let other teams come in and talk with Jimmy's camp about renegotiating his number. A lot of it will come down to threading the needle for Jimmy. I want to start. I want to get what I'm worth, but I understand there isn't a team out there with the cash and cap flexibility to give me what's on my contract now. So again, I think it's underreported. The Niners have been 100% willing to let other teams talk with Jimmy and Jimmy's camp. Really is what he said about renegotiating his number.
I wonder if it's underreported because there's been no headway made. There's like, yeah, I mean, we need some videos of him throwing before we speak numerically,
right?
Before we put a value on this, what we're looking for here. So how far do you even go? We were told the 4th. It's now July 12th. There has not been just a video of Jimmy throwing to some people. Now, you could counter me and go, of all the people, Jimmy would be the least likely, it feels like, just him as the guy to like throw that out publicly. But, I would say in this day and age, it's a pretty easy BP fastball. If you're going to throw, just get a couple throws, right? Yeah. Do you think that's fair?
I think it's fair. I mean, I think you could argue this is not a situation where public sentiment or momentum, like there's not.
It doesn't really matter. Couldn't he just forward that to Belichick or whoever?
Yeah, Caserio, the Texans, the Browns.
Remember when Jordan Matthews wanted a job with Kyle? He didn't post it on Twitter. He just texted it to Kyle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's like, wouldn't Don Yee? It doesn't feel like Don Yee is out there. That's just not really the Don Yee stop playbook because it's not the Tom playbook.
Right.
Well, kind of recently, social media, but Tom wouldn't play it that way if he was in Jimmy's situation.
It's
right?
never been Jimmy's playbook. We never the only pictures we ever see of Jimmy in the offseason are pictures somebody else took, right?
I would say of all the really, really famous people, non-baseball, I wouldn't count them. But basketball and football, Jimmy has to be one of the least active, it feels like, on social media or worrying about any of that shit. And people actively say he does not care.
Yeah.
Which I'm envious.
He's rich. His only post like Travis Matthews had.
But you talk about a guy that could just dominate on thirst traps on Instagram. He doesn't even need them.
You don't need to post to get in the DMs.
No,
the only other time he appears is that annual radio tour he does with his dad.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, Jimmy just talked with Ballsack Sports.
For the Iron Workers Union or whatever it is they tour on.
But he doesn't talk to many people. Right?
No. But it'll be like Jimmy was just on CNN Mad Money with his dad. What? Mad Money.
It's like Jimmy in a Travis Matthews polo, and like with a green screen that's just white behind him.
It's on headline news. So, I mean, I also think the Browns situation with Deshaun affects his market quite a bit. But I will say, like, my first thought when I heard Albert Breer say that was, when it's one thing to show up to camp when there's some potential that you'll eventually be on that team as the backup quarterback. You've been saying for a long time you don't think he shows up. To me, once you're talking to other teams, that's another sign that you are probably not ever putting on that team's uniform again. When you're basically a free agent without being a free agent, right?
Yeah. And Breer hit on this, and you and I have been talking about it. There's just a lot of variables with Jimmy. There's his injury. There's his price tag is way higher. It's just a completely different situation. Like the Browns and Baker Mayfield hated each other. That was like really ugly last couple of months. Like that's not the case. Like if Jimmy's like, hey, Kyle, John, you guys going to be around? Could I come use the weight room and work out? They'd be like, yeah, come. Like they're close still. Close relative to like as you can be given the situation. The respect level, it feels like, is still relatively high, right? And I do think the other difference is now his options would be limited because ultimately he'd have to take less money to facilitate a trade. So Jimmy has leverage in this. But even if he didn't, I don't think the Niners would have screwed him. I think that's where Kyle might be pretty ruthless. He's got a little Belichick in him. I think
What does
John,
that even mean?
in theory, like you could just trade him to the shittiest team for like a second round pick in the perfect world, like 6 months ago. It never even existed.
Yeah.
I think John
would have to be willing to pay him.
I think John would have tried to operate like a Bob Myers and like done really right by the player. I just think Kyle, and it might be unfair. Like whatever Belichick, even though the irony is Belichick actually gave him to the Niners, he thought he was doing him a solid. Remember, the Cleveland Browns were pissed. He's like, I'm not trading him to you.
Yeah,
that was Jimmy. That was Bill Steve.
I know that's the story. I always
totally believe it.
I'm always.
Do you believe the text messages after every win? Great win. Great job, Jimmy.
I mean,
I thought that came out by a
day,
pretty credible person, remember?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not questioning the credibility of the person so much as I question whether or not Belichick does anything when it comes to an NFL transaction. Just, I'm going to send him to another team just to do everybody involved a solid. Maybe he did. I want Jimmy to succeed.
I'm pretty sure the Browns hadn't won and the Niners had won.
Well, yes, he hates the Browns. So it's more out of a twist the knife on them. And this is where I do buy it. I think if Bill was forced to get rid of Jimmy, like we think, because Tom had gone to the owner and said, this is what's happening here. And the owner said to Bill, Jimmy's got to go.
And remember, Bill tried to give Jimmy like a 2-year, like $25 million contract to like not starter money, but way better than backup money. Whatever. I don't even, the number might be off. 2 years, $35 million, whatever. And Jimmy kept saying no. So he's like, he won't sign the contract.
But I don't think any of it was out of just the goodness of his heart. I think, and this is, we can sympathize with thinking like this. I'm going to send him somewhere where he looks really good, and it's going to make them look really bad for forcing me to trade him, and it's going to make me look good for picking him. Like, I think that's part of it. I'm going to send him to the Niners. He's going to look good, and they're going to be like, damn, Bill was right. I think that's what it was. John, before we go on, let's tell the people about our friends at Indeed. Right now, you go to Indeed.com/ham. That's Indeed.com/ham, where Indeed is doing something no other job site has done. Now with Indeed, businesses only pay for quality applications matching the sponsored job description.
Yep, guy. Do you know what I love about Indeed?
What?
Is it gives you the ability. It gives you the capability. Is that it makes hiring all in one place easy because everything's right there. Indeed puts you only in front of the people that you want to match with because they put you in control of what you pay. So you don't pay for anyone that you match with that doesn't fit the requirements. When you set the must-have job requirements, you only pay for the applicants that meet them. So you're only talking to people that meet the requirements that you're looking for to apply to your job. That's the key to hiring, right? Hire the right type of people.
And there's a transparent flat fee per application. You can pause your job posting whenever you want. So when you sponsor posted Indeed, you're 4.5 times more likely to get a hire, according to Indeed data worldwide. So visit Indeed.com/ham right now. Just go to Indeed.com/ham. That's Indeed.com/ham. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need
Indeed.
The other thing Breer said was, and this echoes what I heard Florio say the other day, that, when it comes down to the Deshaun, as it relates to Deshaun, that he thinks Roger Goodell would be in a tough spot if the arbitrator finds that Deshaun deserves to be suspended, but only suspends Deshaun for 4 games. Roger Goodell can then say, you know what? I don't like that suspension. I'm going to do 16. And one of the things he said was he thinks the fact that the details of the NFL's case leaked is evidence that the NFL does not feel very good about its case against Deshaun Watson, which I thought that was an interesting note. As two guys who have thought like, man, he is gone for the year. Good luck ever playing this year, Deshaun. Breer's saying the fact that stuff leaked out is the NFL trying to get a little public sentiment ready when he doesn't get suspended for people to know it wasn't because they didn't try.
Well, if he doesn't get suspended, the league can't do anything if she gives him 0. Even if they gave him 4, they could go up to 8. I mean, they could do whatever they want.
NFL
could
do for a year.
Yeah. But let's just hypothetically say that he gets half a season or less. That puts in the Niners would be in major trouble. I would say that's they're not trading for Jimmy Garoppolo unless he gets the full season. I don't think they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo if he gets 12 games. Maybe they try to hopefully wait till he's cut and then they can structure the deal. But I think that the 49ers have to pray that he gets the season. Assuming that maybe who knows? I mean, they might have already been told that we're not interested or we're very interested. We're just waiting. I mean, clearly they've talked, but it benefits the Niners greatly if he gets the book thrown at him, which, like you said, a lot of people kind of in the know without quote unquote being in the know kind of say this thing could get weird. And when we say weird, like if it was announced that he got 0 games, I hate using Twitter, but it would be a dark day on Twitter. It would get ugly fast.
And even off of Twitter, right? I'd be stunned by it, and you're right about that.
I would too. I'm just saying the reaction. That's just the wrong. I just think a lot of people would be like, "Are you serious?"
I think if you just went to a bar, forget about Twitter, and you just had sports fans there, they'd be like, "Wow, Deshaun didn't get suspended, right? Like that's big news for the Browns." They'd all the fans would immediately be like, "I don't know, man. Kind of like the Browns this year." Like it would shift to that within 24 hours. But I think to me,
Ballsack Sports would have some stuff.
Ballsack. What would get interesting is like if he got suspended 4 games. Because I think, and this was kind of the point that Breer was making, Roger Goodell, the NFL does not want Roger Goodell in the business of what was it, judge, jury, and executioner, that whole thing. Yeah. So they bring in the independent arbiter, which is funny because I don't think she gets paid by the government. I'm pretty sure that the arbiter's paid by the NFL, right? Like they pay. So there's still an employer for the arbiter. But they bring in the arbiter and say, I think it's great cover for the NFL. I think it's genius. It's genius. Because if there's a public belief that somebody should be suspended for a long time, but the arbiter doesn't suspend that person at all or for a long time, the NFL can say, hey, we wanted to suspend this person for a year, but we're not going to step out of the rules, overstep our bounds here. Roger's not going to go all dictatorship and start suspending people willy-nilly. This is what we agreed to with the players union. And public, if you're outraged, this is not Roger Goodell that made the decision. This is a U.S. District Court judge who made this decision. That's who made this decision. If she decides, Judge Sue Robinson decides not to suspend him or suspends him for 4 games, that's not Goodell. I think it's genius by the league because they can. Now, maybe they really would be mad, but they can pretend to be mad. Like, oh, these are just the rules. They set up the game. They put the person in charge, and then that person, quote unquote, doesn't do what they want. What are they supposed to do? Now, if she suspends him 8 games, they can reduce the suspension. They can make the suspension longer. If they suspend him 8 games, I would not, given what I heard Breer say today, I would not expect Goodell to then add on another half of the season because I don't think he wants to be. I think he wants to be able to say, this is not me. I'm not the one responsible for this. And in the future, it would allow them to just totally stay out of it.
I don't have a great. I mean, it'd be a complete.
But I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I don't, because I do think it's a BP fastball for him, and he would get some credit.
He would.
Not that does he really care about that, but he's taken a lot of arrows over the years.
I think I think the reason you would not suspend. I think the argument for not suspending him beyond whatever the court judge with the arbiter would is like in the future. I'm doing this for the future. When somebody should be suspended longer that I don't want to suspend, I'll say, well, the precedent the last time I did not interfere with the suspension. I stayed out of it. The arbiter said 8 games. I left it at 8 games or 4 games or whatever. And that's that. I don't know.
I think it's all on the table. It's going to be either good, bad, or people are going to freak. I don't even know. You could argue, he might say, well, I'm innocent. What do you mean? I've already missed a year. Which is like, well, you kind of chose last year.
Yeah, I saw somebody say that today. Like you could suspend him for how many games were last year? 17. So you suspend him for 8, and that's really a 25-game suspension because he missed last year.
He got paid,
but I don't buy that. Yeah,
no,
he didn't get suspended. What do we know what a suspension is?
Yeah.
So the other day, Wimbledon, you spotted a shave it or save it candidate.
Just really bothers me that in 2022, this was a look. My father and his, I would say, contemporaries in the, for a long time, even before he was, you could not be bald in America. That's why a lot of people wore toupees. And when I say you couldn't be bald in America, it was just, I don't even know. I can't relate. I don't know what their feeling was. I mean,
That
I guess
should be a documentary.
I can feel the
like
insecurity. You don't want to be bald, but like, why was it so frowned upon? Like in the 50s, so everyone wore a toupee. Weird
Bald
deal.
in America, a 7-part series on AMC.
And listen, some guys like Marv Albert, till the day he called his last NBA game, had a toupee on. Carl Ravitch did the Carl's World Series, toupee on, which offends me. But I get it. Like, you've been going this long. What are you going to do?
I don't think that one's widely known information.
Yeah, well, it's just I saw it the other day when I was watching the Carl's World Series, and it is very, very visible when you're looking at it. It was just, it's offensive to me, guy.
Okay.
Jason Witten did it. That was very offensive because in society, I get it if you're just living life, but these people are on television, and they were always shunned on television. And I think we've made big strides that you can be a bald man on television and make it. It's
just
not,
like you don't have to be skinny to be in Sports Illustrated anymore.
100%. You don't have to be skinny in life at all. So it shows you that I root for people that just trim it. Now, not everyone is going to go Mach 3 Bic. Completely get it. Some people actually look still pretty solid. Like if they have a little more hair up here, like I haven't shaved in a couple days. And when I go to the side, if I don't have a good tan, I'm 2.5 days in. It's not like I'm 10 days in. It looks bad. If I did what William did at Wimbledon, Prince William, we were like, what's his last name? Then you look up, his name is just Prince William. Like that's he doesn't have a last name.
He's like Post Malone.
My issue always too is I get insecurity as a young, no money, still finding yourself in society professionally. You don't have a significant other. I have never understood, like LeBron, been married now, it feels like for a decade and a half. He has multiple kids. He's super rich. Like, who gives a shit? William, you're literally married with children, and your first name is Prince. Now, maybe they have some rules. They don't want a guy to go Bic. But what the hell is that? Like, that is atrocious, guy. That is terrible. Now, he's long and skinny, so it's somewhat easier to pull off. Like, I'll say the one guy that semi pulls it off is the NFL reporter, Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the connect to the beard. He kind of is darker skin. It just works. I don't think it really works on him. Like if he was just William from the UK who sells swords, I think people would be like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
So a couple things.
I don't know
One,
what they sell over there.
I think the same things we sell here, knickers. I don't think you should waste any energy being offended. I think anytime you see somebody, and we'll break down this guy's hair in a second. I think I would feel sympathy. Like this person is not as secure with this situation as I am. They're at a different point in their evolution than I, especially at older ages. If you grew up at a point where it was less acceptable,
Like Ravage.
so I wouldn't be offended by it. Now, let's talk about
like Marv. I'm not offended by Marv. Marv grew up in a time where
I wouldn't be offended by these are people's insecurities we're dealing
even
with.
with Marv's talent, they might not have allowed him bald on television.
Like when they told Joe Buck, like somebody told Joe Buck to lose weight and get plugs.
You know, 100%. That there were different standards in 2022.
Do you have a different respect for plugs versus hairpiece just because of the pain involved, the dedication, the pain, the money?
To me, plugs is your real hair. I have no issue. It's to me, plugs, breast implants, Botox. I have no issue. That the toupee is just
wait.
1876.
Breast implants and plugs are not the same thing. It's not your real.
But I'm just saying, I put that in the same category. I know it's not necessarily apples to apples, but my point is
you're saying there's a difference between breast implants and putting like stuffing tissue paper down your shirt or your crotch.
That's probably a better analogy.
Yeah.
You agree, plugs and a hair toupee in 2022 if you're on television.
But they both come from the same place.
No, but
I don't. Here's my point. When it comes to shave it or save it, for me, one of my fundamental things is I approach these people with love. Okay.
Well, you have a great head of hair. I'm allowed to be critical as a bald guy.
I don't. But you're talking about people who are. We're talking about basic human insecurity here.
But like here, I'll give you 2 names of guys that got plugs. That it's just pretty obvious. Jordan Spieth and Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady's very obvious. Spieth got it too. That if I at the time, and again, there was a difference. Like what William and I have is not pluggable. What Joe Buck, Tom Brady, the receding hairline is pluggable. What we have is just you're bald. There is no plug saving this guy. So like what he has, what I have, the cul-de-sac, like ultimately if Tom would have gone, it just would have kept going back and back. Like I remember when Kobe shaved his hair. It was just his hairline just kept going back and back. We lose it. Like we have no hairline.
I get it.
So to me, the plugs aren't they were never an option for me at the time. Like I didn't know anyone. I didn't run with the elites at 24 when I was going. I didn't even know a human with plugs.
I didn't either.
But
anyway, this photo's from Wimbledon the other day. Hard from the front. The problem here for Prince William, he's got like assign a percentage of 1 out of 10. If 10 is fully, you got a lot of hair, and 0 is you're completely bald. He's like a 5 on the sides, but a 1 on top. Like there's no blending going on here.
Yeah, it's just a bad look. Now here's where you get by, and this is lucky to be rich, powerful men. It honestly, he could have half his hair on one side could completely. It's just completely irrelevant. Like that's the thing. That's my issue. Like, is there no one in his life, even his wife, which would probably be the one? I guess his father has a somewhat similar look to be like, let's go with something else.
When you're this bald, we get a good look at your head, and he's got a good dome. Like this, it would work for him. Great jawline.
But to me, even if he didn't go big, if he just like shaved it down, I think he would look fine.
Yeah,
the sunglasses.
You're saying
tall, skinny.
You're saying it's not always complete shave. I think the short on top is the move for him.
Yeah,
right?
It's a
little buzz on top. You get some little flex. Maybe we should bring Garoppolo on sometime for this. I think the real royal brother that needs to be addressed is his brother, Prince Harry. I think this is a situation that is much more dire than this. This is Prince William. I'm bald, whatever. Prince Harry thinks we don't know. He's the one I really feel for, John, because he's still trying to grow it out. Look at this look.
Here's what he would have immediately. He has a good-looking beard. He could shave his head. Even again, back to like a 1 or a 2, and I think he would look pretty good. Both these two guys, because they have good genetics in terms of height, I would guess Williams 6'3", 6'4", Harry's like 6'2". You have a skinnier face. Like it just works, right?
Yeah.
He will not look bad. I don't think he's as dire as you believe.
I think, to me, this is worse than having just short hair and trying to do something, even though you don't like what William's doing with being bald, trying to do something with it. He's pretending. Prince Harry's acting. It's like from a front, you go, this guy's not bald. And that's what he wants you to think. But these aerial shots we've got here, John, are serious. Like, to me, if he cut it short like his brother, I wouldn't. But he can clearly grow length. That's my question. When you went bald, could you still grow length in the spots where you had hair? You could grow like thin hair out.
Yeah, I could now.
Yeah. So that's what he's doing here.
I wonder if he got implants.
You think it looks better now?
Well, I just wonder if he was going bald and they did it implants because his hair's so like. If you said Harry or you said Williams like a 5 on the sides, Harry's got a legit that's normal hair on the sides.
He's a 10. He's a 10 on the sides.
That's just his normal hair his entire life. On top, he's probably a 5-ish. Probably rotates depending on the day, 6 to 4. Out of the pool, it'd probably look. I bet when he gets out of the pool or the shower, it's not a great look.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if he still had enough. They probably took it out of the side and put it up top.
Maybe. I feel like when you get plugs, like it's one thing to have a spot where it's bald and then hair in other spots, but this is like just 40% coverage across the board.
It's ugly. I actually don't think it's that terrible. I don't hate this.
I think this is bad. I think the long hair with bald on top is worse than what Prince William's got going on.
I think I'm going to hard disagree.
This is our first major shave it or save it disagreement. I think Prince Harry needs to do something up top there. Prince William's close. I think he's close. He just gets to he needs to be nudged in the right direction, just shorten it up a little.
You know what he'd say? He's like, a couple more deaths, I'm the king. So it's like, you think
crown,
I give a
the
shit?
crown will cover it.
Yeah, dude. You think I got one more heart attack, baby, and I'm sitting in the big seat. So whether I got hair or no hair,
But that's the beauty of this conversation.
the redhead's answering to me.
That's the beauty of this conversation, though. It's just status be damned. It's a very human situation.
Yeah, I go save it on Harry too.
You go save it. I would go short on Harry. I would not leave it like this. But neither man is getting a Bic recommendation.
I just picture those two women hating each other. I mean, hating each other. They are not friends.
No, he moved to the United States.
He did an interview with Oprah where he outed his family. Led by her.
I'm president. I'm moving to London. Like, what?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Oprah, of all people.
Breer has good hair.
All right. Breer does have good hair. All right. On that note, Severo on the show says, save it on Harry with some plugs or that Ron Popeil spray.
Yeah, the sprays. I mean, that's just infomercial level scams. Can't believe that. Flex Seal.
I remember there was this Major League I looked at VHS tape in the 90s that was, I don't know, I don't even remember what it was. Just a baseball season review or something.
Tom Ananski?
No. It was like an MLB season in review type tape. And it was when the Phillies were really good. And one of the guys, I think Larry Anderson, somebody bought him the spray where you put a piece of paper over your head like this in a line and you just spray and it makes fake hair. And they were fucking around with it in the clubhouse and they just thought it was the funniest thing. It was pretty funny too. Have you seen this stuff? It was like,
no,
it was like a spray, not quite. It looked better than Carlos Beltran and Carlos
Boozer.
Yeah, both Carloses. All right. On that note, thanks for hanging with us, everybody.